Good morning. Good morning, everybody. It's me, Mitch. Welcome. Welcome to Morning Coffee with Mitch on a dreary, cloudy, and rainy Sunday morning down here in Florida. Cold front coming. Cold front coming. And as usual, my friends, to start things off, drink it if you got it. I wish I could say, and be honest with you, that was my first sip, but it wasn't. I must confess. Been up since early, like 4:20. I've been nipping at the coffee a little bit before the live stream. Sorry, guys. Got about half a cup left, but that should do it. Interestingly enough, I only end up drinking about half a cup of coffee during these live streams, and smoke actually very little of the cigar I lit up because I can't keep my mouth shut and I keep talking. So good to see everybody. Good to see you. Perfect. Wow, nice little crowd this morning so far. 61 people Sunday morning. Sunday morning, 2 days. 2 days away from the new year. Wow. God, that's so hard to believe. So hard. Where the hell did it go? The holidays just seem to have come and gone, haven't they? Wow, wow, wow. Again, last night I forgot to I got myself preoccupied with other things and forgot to create the live stream. So I created it around 4:30 this morning when I got up. And damn if Terry Sue wasn't right there at 4:41 a.m. to chime in and be the first in the pre-chat and rang that bell. I couldn't believe it. But it's nice to know I'm not the only person. Now, I got plenty of sleep. I was in bed by about 10 o'clock. So I got plenty of sleep, but still, when you wake up at 4:30 in the morning, it's still the middle of the night. It's dark outside. Sunrise here isn't until about 7 a.m. And you ramble around, you try to figure out, well, what am I going to do to kill a few hours here? Yeah, but that's my schedule, so I'm stuck with it. I don't have many show notes today. Got just a couple little things to show you, so we'll see if we can't go too far into overtime today, so I can really, in earnest, get to work filming the new electrolyte mix video, which I wanted to do yesterday, and I got busy doing other things, and I never got to it. And I'll show you a little something after I get done saying hi to the pre-chat early birds. And there were a lot of you this morning. We had a great time on our Saturday afternoon live stream. Had 7 people in there with me. Screen full of people. We had Tuka, Greg, Spanky, Charger Mopar with his technical issues, Rick, and Peter was there. If I missed anybody, I'm sorry. It'll come to me. But we had a good time. We had a good time. We did, I think, overdo it on the cigar talk because we had a few cigar smokers in the panel and we got off on cigars and had to be reminded by somebody that can we have a little less cigar talk? So unfortunately, that's what happens when you get a bunch of guys together. No women, though. Come on, girls. Come on. Come on. Where are all the girls that would come in with us? I don't know. I don't know. You're out there. I know you are. Maybe Thursday night we'll have some of the gals back. Keep us on track. So, Terry Sue's first one in this morning, followed by Mike Seeley in Tampa at 4:47. 4:47. Wow. Cliff Medina chimed in at 5:12. Holy mackerel. And at 5:18, Juan Manuel from Chile said, Buenos dias a todos. Good day to all. And to me, too. Gary from Noslo chimed in. How you doing, Gary, at about 5:20, and Lynn Gerber, 5:27. Said good morning from Deerfield Beach at 5:30. Granny Boo chimed in. Peter was up, 5:41. Hiya, Peter. Good to see you. Wayne Herman, 6:05. Good to see you, Wayne. Tweet and Pearl, 6:05, 6:07. Peter was back. Feral Grandma, 6:26 a.m. Peter said, tried to watch Kilts live at 5 a.m., but no one is there, and it's 6:30, confused. Well, perhaps Kiltsy takes, I don't know if he's as dedicated as I am to doing one of these virtually every day. And it is Sunday, Peter. Give the poor guy a day off if he wants to take it. I mean, he does get up every morning at, 3:30 to get ready for it and do that live stream at 5 a.m. Wow, that's crazy. At 6:41, Stickman's Garage chimed in. How you doing? Telling us about the weather there. Warm enough in here to cook meat on a radiator. Okay, very economical way to do that. 6:59, Harry Dion. Good to see you. And Mike Seeley's father from Melbourne chimed in at 7 o'clock. Nikki W., how you doing, Nikki? Good to see you. About 7:25, 7:52. Tina Schweikerath, hiya. Smoothie, 4:20. Happy Sirloin Sunday, everyone. 7:57. At 7:58, Richard Williams chimed in. I could just smell the coffee, can't you? Okay. 8:03, William McCartney chimed in. And start putting your questions in the chat, guys. You got something for me today? QQQ, capital QQQ. And we'll see if we can't get to it. Doesn't matter if it's trivial. None of that stuff matters. Just inquiring minds always want to know. Always want to know. Bob Black chimed in at 8:08. Good to see you, Bob. And also at 8:08, Denise Kirk. Good morning, Mitch and everyone. It's rainy but a warm 48 degrees here in Springfield. Wow, that is warm for up there. The end of the year, we got a cold front coming through. 2 cold fronts, actually. One of them's coming through today, but it's not going to make it really cold. But then we're going to get hit by one Wednesday or so, Tuesday or Wednesday. And I'm going to be facing morning temperatures in the 40s here. So I'll have to make the decision whether to bundle up and come out here and do it or do it in the house. But either way, I'll be here. I'll be here. Now, I will warn all of you that one day a year, and it's usually between Christmas and New Year's, but it's going to have to be after New Year's. I go over to my daughter's in Tampa, and basically she gets to give me all the Christmas presents, the T-shirts with the funny sayings, sweatshirts, whatever she buys for me. She loves to shop. And on that day, I will not, and it'll be the first time for a while, I will not be doing the morning coffee. Unless I do it from my car driving over there. And that's an idea, but I don't think it would. I think it would be very distracting for me to try to drive in morning traffic. And I usually leave my house when I go over there around 5 o'clock in the morning. It's a 3-hour drive. I usually leave about 4:30, 5 o'clock, and I beat the rush hour. So 8:30 doesn't make it. And I don't think I could do it from over there. But I haven't decided yet, so maybe one day in the not too distant future, you guys are going to have to wake up without me. One day a year. Mark Booth, how you doing, Mark? Good to see you this morning. And Sandy Blythe at 8:14. Rick, Charger Mopar. Good to see you, my friend, at 8:15. And Captain America Steve Rogers chimes in from Kansas City, Missouri. Good to see you this morning, Steve. Steve, speaking of Steve, another Steve. Steve Studley's here. We're creeping up on 8:30. Anna Korzawa. Good to see you at 8:25, as well as Mark Whistler. Hiya, Mark. How you doing? 110 people already. Holy cow. Holy cow. CB from Alabama, Sheriff. How you doing? Good to see you at 8:25. Pamela Suarez. Good to see you. Don Galasso says, good morning, everyone. And Edward Renner, look at all the people checking in. I'm glad you guys check in the chat and just don't sit back and watch, and I don't know who's out there. I know there are some people that watch this every morning and have never made their presence known. Because occasionally, I do get a comment from somebody who says, I've been watching you for months, but this is my first comment. So to all of you, welcome as well. Even though I can't welcome you individually. And I encourage you to join the chat. Join the chat if nothing else. That is, say good morning to the community. Great community that it is. And evidently, back again, Terry Sue. Good morning, Mitch, and all you non-fatty livered peeps. That's cool. That's cool. 828 Renato. D'Amico, 6-year carnivore going strong. Congratulations. Wow, wow, wow. That's terrific. You started it way back around the time Sean Baker wrote his book. That's great. That's great. Good morning, Aaron. Booby Goats is here, 829. And let's see who was the first to ring the bell at 8:30. And it was, this morning, our friend Steve Studley. Steve Studley said, CB, it was good to see you last night. Wonder where CB saw Steve last night. Maybe on somebody else's live stream. I don't know. I didn't see CB last night. But that maybe was in a chat. But at any rate, 8:30, Steve Studley rang the bell this morning and followed shortly thereafter by Mark Booth, Don Schonger, Marla Kelly, good morning to you. Steve Studley, Gary, No Slow, 8:30. Lizzie's here. How you doing, Lizzie, at 8:30? And we're still going. Graceful Lily chimed in at 8:30. Wow, wow. CB chimed in at 8:30 again. Tom, always right on the bell. Tom doesn't participate in the pre-chats ever, but always right at 8:30 sometime. He's there. How you doing? Viking 442 from Tampa. Good to see you. And that ends the 8:30 crowd. And you guys, right after that, we're chatting back and forth. Michael Pregler chimed in. How you doing? Pat Ramirez chimed in. And who else was new? Rick chimed in there. Gina Cav, how you doing? Quicker Tickers here. How you doing? Quicker Ticker. Terry says, yay me, I won. Wear that with pride because it ain't worth much. But it is to us. It is to us. Ketra Naylor, how you doing? Ketra says, good morning, gray day on the Mississippi. Yeah, you got all that weather going through. I hope none of it gets too rough. Sandy Blythe is here with us this morning. Good to see you, as well as Denise Kink, Renato Diamato, and I think I'm going to hold it here at Tanya Kitchen Witch. Good morning, Tanya. How you doing? Just woke up. Hey, it's okay. It's Sunday. You're allowed to sleep in on Sunday. Seems none of us could, but you're allowed. And Boyd is here. Hi, Boyd. How you doing? Julie Atkins, good morning to you. And Tuka, who mistyped. Who is that? Tussa? I guess that's not Tuka. We have somebody named Tussa. I've never seen that name before. With a question. So I will leave it there, get into my few show notes, and we'll pick it up where we left off. Okay. We'll get right back to you. We'll get right back to you. But first, you know the drill, guys. I'm going to put my coffee link in the chat. Always have to do this. It helps, but if you think I'm helping you out, if you enjoy this stuff, and you're in the mood to help me keep going here, help me support, pay the bills for this, there's the link. There's the link, my friends. You know what to do with it. Also, don't forget my Amazon stuff. I appreciate it. Thank you. End of commercial. The only commercial you'll ever hear during this live stream. No interruptions, no mid-roll ads, no sponsors, just me. Something I wish I didn't have to do. And I wouldn't do it if I didn't have to do it. Enough said. Okay, enough of that. Enough of that. And if any of you feel like it and you forgot, just say repost the link. Although I probably wouldn't get to that because I'm always behind in the chat. I probably wouldn't get to it until too late anyway. But it's a thought. It's a thought. Maybe I'll just try to remember to repost it. But it slips my mind too. This morning, I got from Terry. I got an email yesterday. Got an email from Terry. And Terry, I can't believe this. This is it's really cool and incredibly flattering. Incredibly flattering. And I hope Terry knows what she's getting herself into here. It has something to do with Facebook. And me, I hate Facebook. I miss out on even my family's Facebook pages because I don't even have an account. I'm sorry. I just do not like social media in general. It can be addictive, number one. I really never even took the time to figure out how it all works. And if you've never figured out how all that stuff works, when you first go in, it's very, very daunting to find stuff you want. But Terry evidently has been a Facebook user. And Terry, when my streams end, told me that she felt isolated from all of the friends that she's made here until the next time we went live. And she thought, wouldn't it be a great idea to form a private group on Facebook. And she called it Fans of Old Guy Carnivore. And we emailed back and forth, and she's worried about a bunch of trolls coming into it and everything else. But it's a private community. I think that anybody that wants to be a member has to be approved by her. And then she said, well, I probably have to get a moderator. And she seemed like she became a little hesitant, but I think she really wants to do this so that you guys, all of you, if you want, would have a place outside of these live streams, which I sincerely hope won't replace your participation in the live streams, but a place to communicate with each other, because you've become great friends, so many of you, and I think it's really cool. Now, I wouldn't even begin to know how to tell you guys. Somebody is chatting me this morning. It's junk. It's junk. It's phishing. Somebody, one of those, we have a package waiting for your delivery. Oh, God, I can't believe it. I thought I had all of that stuff blocked, but they keep figuring out new ways. Anyway, I wouldn't know how to begin to tell you guys to join up with this thing, but most of you are Facebook users, are very familiar with it. And I know that Terry can invite as many of you as she knows your Facebook handles. So we'll see if it gets going. And Terry, I hope will keep me up to date on whether people are using it and then whether you're all having fun over there. So thank you. Thank you, Terry, for the amazing compliment to have a private Facebook group of people that are my fans. I never think about actual fans, but that's great. That's great. And incredibly, incredibly flattering to me. I mean, you have no idea. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. So I did want to make that announcement, and keep me up to date, guys. Let me know what's going on over there. Like I say, I'm not going to create a Facebook account, so I won't be able to join it. Even though I may be my biggest fan, I'm sorry. But a great place for you guys. A great place for you guys to continue your friendships and discussions on things that maybe don't have anything to do with carnivore. Kind of like we talk about cigars. So anyway, that was really cool. I thought that was cool. So thank you so much for that. And the next thing I want to say real quick. This is just a quickie. I want to show you what my kitchen counter looks like right now. I have set up a chemistry lab. And what you see there are the raw ingredients for my supplement mix, the instruments and accoutrements that I need to mix it up. There's, on the other side of the bowls is a scale. And I am going to make a video later this morning, hopefully very clear, that takes all the mystery. Because if I wasn't making a video, it would take me 5 to 10 minutes tops. Because I've done it a few times since I did that first video. It would take me 5 to 10 minutes to mix it up. But I want to try to explain how I arrived at the math, how it'll be more clear what you're doing, how to differentiate the large mix of 100 doses from the individual dosage, both in grams total and the amount of each electrolyte that you get in that final 1 teaspoon dose. So I remember all the confusion from the first one. I will try to alleviate that. So today I'm going to make that video. Hopefully I can get it edited and get it out early this afternoon. Chances are I won't. So if it doesn't pop today, look for it tomorrow. Look for it tomorrow. Depends on how much time I want to spend editing, how many graphics, and how much text I want to put in it to try to make it clearer, and all that stuff just takes a lot of time in editing. So today or tomorrow, it's coming. I wanted to prove to you that I'm not just talking about it. I am getting ready. I am getting ready, and the stuff is sitting out there, and away we go. So that's coming. That's coming tomorrow. Okay. And somehow that first question has scrolled. Here it is right here. Scrolled up. So let me start answering your questions. But first, any way to stall. But first, I always answer questions better with a cigar in my hand. Excuse me while I light it. While you get happy and dance a little bit. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. And quick word about the cigar. Believe it or not, and I think it's a sad commentary on society, I'm fully aware of how self-destructive to my YouTube channel just smoking my cigar is. How narrow-minded so many people are. How misinformed they are about what really is dangerous and really affects health terribly and what doesn't. And this doesn't. It's an insult to my intelligence as well, but I will not ever do anything just so my channel will grow faster. And I'm not giving this up. And I'm trying to make a prop out of it every day. And decent people enjoy that and allow me, just like I allow everybody, to do anything that they want. It's ultimately their decision. But you would not believe the price I pay just to exercise my autonomy. And I'll continue to do that. In case any of you didn't think I was aware of just how many. We did that live stream yesterday. We were smoking cigars and talking about. I lost 20 subscribers because of that. 20 people out of the maybe 80 or 90 that were watching said, I'm not going to watch him if he smokes cigars. Their loss. So once again, let me thank you for not being that judgmental. But I'm not going to change. I'm not going to change. Not at my age. Not at my age. Okay, question. Good morning, Mitch. How much weight did you end up losing after you started carnivore? How long did it take to come off? Oh, it's a great question. Is it pronounced Tussa? It's so similar to Tuca, but Tuca would come up and say 30am Carnivore, so I thought maybe he changed his channel name when it first came up. I'm not the greatest living example of how astounding the weight loss can be. Many of you are, because you've sent me pictures with enormous amounts of weight loss, before and after pictures. You've told stories of 100 pounds and more, a lot of you. And it's not fair to try to compare that to me, because I was low carb all my life and keto, and always tried to be healthy and eat healthy, except for the times my addictions took hold. And I had a bad 2 or 3 months and ended up putting on all the weight I lost. But I would always get disgusted with myself, go back on the diet. And I stayed on the diet generally until I got down. Now, when I say diet, I mean low carb, down to the weight, which is more than I am now, but it was a weight that I thought was my appropriate weight, around 150, 55, maybe 60, which is a good 20 pounds heavier, 15, 20 pounds heavier than I am now. And the only weight I had to lose when I started carnivore was about 30 pounds that I had gained because of a head injury and the recovery from that 3 years ago. So I started with about 25, 30 pounds to lose. I was at about 170. I ended up losing more than that, but I didn't have 100 pounds to lose. And it only took me months, maybe 3, 4 months to knock that off. And then over 2 years, I settled in about 10 pounds lower, because I settled in the 140s, which is not heavy. I mean, 140, 5'10". Everybody was telling me I was too skinny, but that wasn't where my weight loss stopped. My weight loss stopped at an average of about 136 to 138 pounds. And right now, if I weigh myself once a week, it's 136 or 137, depending on how much fluid I'm retaining or how much stuff I have in my bowels, inconsequential stuff. So I'm now, let's say, 136, 7 pounds, 5'10", and I still have some subcutaneous fat, because you need some. But no matter what I eat, how little, how much, my weight just hangs in there. But it only took me a few months. That's not something you can expect. My metabolism was not that bad, but bad enough to make me sick with kidney stones and eczema and high blood pressure and all that stuff, which would get better when I went on keto, but when I went off, they all came raging back. But now I'm doing fine. So I don't know if I'm the guy to ask that question, but that's been my experience. And I don't even think about weight anymore. Very rarely ever get on the scale. I can tell just by looking at, just take a glance in the mirror, I know I haven't changed any since yesterday. Anyway, that was a good question. Thank you for that, and very nice to see you. Always nice to see newer people. 8:37, Mama Bear checked in. Now, what time is it? Oh, it's already 9 o'clock. Holy cow. Holy cow. God, you can't let these things, can't not puff on them. So how you doing, Mama Bear? Good to see you. William Cigar, Monica Lewinsky smoked cigars. That didn't work out. Oh, yeah, William, we can always count on you. Aunt B is here. How you doing? Good to see you. Good to see you. Who else haven't I said? Touramir is here saying, how are you, boss? My stock answer, if I was any better this morning, it would be illegal. Let's hope they don't make a law against it. I like being happy. I like being upbeat in the morning. Hope it rubs off. Julie Atkins is here. Hiya, Julie. How you doing? Kiltz is like the Energizer Bunny, most wide open person. Yes, he is. I've met him on a few occasions, and the man's a dynamo, for God's sakes. Because he has so many things he does outside. He's a doctor, for God's sakes. There's more to it than just YouTube. Excuse me, something almost went down the wrong pipe. Ah, yes. I should mute the mic when I do that, but we're among friends. He has one of the largest chains of fertility clinics in the country right now. And he's always flying all over the place, opening more and more of them. Honest to God. He is something. He is something. And I admire him. Nice guy. Nice guy. Giving, God, the sweet, very sweet, good heart, big heart. Well worth following, I think. Danny in Boston's here. Hiya, Danny. How you doing? I'm looking for questions, and new people to say hi to. Peter feeds me questions every morning. Peter's question of the morning. Mitch, why do sugar, carbs, and seed oils cause damage to our blood vessels, and how can meat and... Oh, Peter. While I appreciate you feeding me questions, you just fed me a question that would require me to go over the complete physiology of the standard American diet, what it causes, and eliminating that. How it fixes that. That is an hour or 2 hour dissertation, not a question. But the simple answer to that is all that crap causes inflammation. Inflammation causes heart disease. Inflammation is what makes your arteries clogged up, not cholesterol. And when you eat meat and stop, and even more important than eating meat for the nutrition is not eating the poisons that cause the inflammation. That's the simple answer to that question. But we all knew that. But thanks anyway. I always appreciate you giving me something to talk about. Tammy's got a question this morning. Tammy Pitarch, what are the benefits of doing the lion diet? Wow, that's interesting. That's very, very interesting. I don't know. I honestly don't know how much more beneficial eating only ruminant animals, salt and water, would be, what percentage, let's say, better it would be than just doing carnivore like I do it and eating not only the ruminant animals, but also the pork and some chicken, drinking a little coffee. I don't know. I couldn't put a number on it. It's not something I've ever heard people saying. I mean, carnivore is a strict elimination diet when you do it right. But the lion diet is such a narrow subset of carnivore that most people who try it probably couldn't stick to it or wouldn't want to, because you have no variety there. I never had the inclination for any reason to think maybe I need to try the lion diet. And the only benefit that I can think that it might have wouldn't be in the areas of weight loss, because you'll lose weight at an acceptable rate on carnivore. But for those people, I think, Tammy, that have certain conditions that come from conditions, for example, like any of the inflammatory bowel diseases, the Crohn's and ulcerative colitis, or even IBD, and maybe severe allergies, like somebody like Michaela Peterson, her story, in that until they virtually eliminate everything else but ruminant meat, it may be the only way to find. They may be getting reactions to non-ruminant meat. Maybe it's something in chicken or something in pork or something in fish. Maybe there's something that they're so sensitive to those things that they get these different conditions, or certain autoimmune conditions, for example, severe rheumatoid arthritis, skin conditions, psoriasis, certain of these conditions may still be affected by eating non-ruminant meat. So in those cases, if it's not just about losing weight, if it's only about getting healthy, unless you have a real sensitivity to non-ruminant meat, I can't see any reason to go on a lion diet. That's my opinion. There may be something I don't know. Of course, there's a lot of things I don't know. It's why I can learn something every day. And I do every day, learn a little something new. But that's the only reason I can think of where a lion diet would have a benefit over a straight carnivore diet. And for most people, if you can start and stick to a straight carnivore diet, maybe with a little coffee or something, you're way ahead of 99.99% of the human race on this planet. So I think hopefully that answer makes some sense to you. Renato flatters me, says, you are doing a great service. Keep on keeping on. I will do that. I will do that. And I'll keep posting my Buy Me a Coffee links. Thank you. Because YouTube sure as hell isn't paying me enough to make it worthwhile. I hate to keep saying that. And it's not that you never do. So many of you guys have. And I really appreciate it. I really do appreciate it. Josephine C's here. How you doing, Josephine C? How far behind am I? About 25 minutes. Well, that's been worse. That's been worse. Hey, Thomas Pruitt's here this morning. Target Prime Rib, good morning, everyone. Good to see you again. Good to see you again. For some reason, Boyd Lamb says Chafee. I have no idea why. Terry Sue, hiya, Terry, question. I think we will let you leave New Year's morning if you're going to hang with us New Year's Eve. I'll probably be here New Year's morning. No big deal. No big deal. I hope it isn't too cold. I'd like to do New Year's Eve out here so I could at least have a cigar. But we'll see. We'll see. And if that's the case, I probably will leave it set up overnight because it won't be long. But no, thank you very much, though. I mean, I appreciate the consideration. Hey, Mac is here. BB1 Mac, how you doing? Reading the chat, looking for questions. Lizzie, I was on my other page watching Curry last night. The weather was crazy here, so I had this phone on the weather. Okay, you're chatting away with other people, I guess. Karen White's got a question. Hi, Karen. Did you eat fruit at the very beginning when trying to transition? No, I didn't. The only fruit I ever finally settled on when I was on keto was blueberries. They're supposed to be, if you're going to eat fruit, blueberries are the lowest in actual sugar. And so I ate blueberries, and I ate blueberries to excess because of my addictions. And I would make blueberry ice cream out of blueberries. And what I did, I had one of these little cup-size blenders. Magic Bullet was called, as seen on TV. And I got that, and you can take the cup and you could fill it with blueberries. You pour some heavy cream in it, put the lid on it, stick it on the blender, and it actually, because the blueberries are frozen and the cream is cold, it turns it into ice cream in 30 seconds. Really cool. And I would promise myself every time that I just one cup. That's it. You're in control, Mitch. You're strong. You've got willpower. Just eat one cup. It's a little treat. Just one cup. I was never able to do it. I was never able. That's how, I mean, I kept trying all the time I was recovering from my brain surgery. I kept trying to moderate. I couldn't. I'm that much of a carb addict, and so many of us are, and are ashamed or afraid to admit it to ourselves. And I'd eat one cup, and I'd finish that cup, and I'd be scraping all the last little bit of goo out of the thing, licking out the inside as far in as I could stick my tongue. You know how that works. We've all done it. Well, the hell. One more cup won't hurt. And I'd go make a second cup of ice cream. And that didn't do it either. And I just, the cravings kept getting, I needed more and more. So then I stopped with the cream, and I just started refilling that cup full of blueberries. And honest to God, I would do that until they were all gone. And I bought them in 3-pound bags. And I can't remember the last time when I was doing that brand new 3-pound bag that I opened to make that first cup survived until the next day. So every time I ate blueberries, it was always a brand new 3-pound bag of blueberries, and I would eat the whole thing and gain weight. Oh, terrible, terrible. And it was those days when I said, this ain't working. This addiction is too strong. I need to figure out how the hell to kill it. And that's when I started to explore carnivore and finally made the decision. And when I made that decision 2.5 years ago, August 1st, 2022, I made the decision, I'm going carnivore today. I wasn't in that bad a shape, metabolically speaking. I said, that's it. I cleaned my house out of everything that had a carb in it. No more blueberries in the freezer. The pantry, everything was gone. No more chaffles. No more keto pizza crust. No more low-carb pizza sauce. No more all the things that I kept doing on keto, which I so strongly advise against doing these days, trying to make imitation versions of the foods you're addicted to with low-carb ingredients. That did nothing but feed my addiction and trigger me until I just said, this ain't doing it. I need the real pizza. I need the real ice cream. And that's when I would be fully off a diet. It happened to me time and time again on keto, and gain all the weight back and get disgusted with myself again. Lord, we can't do that. And to this day, I view those videos that teach you how to make all of those replacements for the addictive foods that you simply refuse to give up and think that you're strong enough to outsmart your subconscious mind. Well, I tell people, how come you haven't been able to do that up to this point? And here's why. And I try to go into the whys, because if you hear the whys, it may make sense to you. No, I'm not strong. No, I have no willpower. So when I went carnivore on August the 1st, from that day until today, there has not been one leaf of lettuce, not one blueberry, not one nut, not one anything other than an animal product that has crossed my lips. And the more I did it, and the longer I got into it, the less and less I wanted that stuff. And pretty soon my addictions were completely gone. But I don't consider them cured. I never consider them cured because they're never cured. An alcoholic can never drink again. One drink, bango. I don't care how long they've been sober. And a carb addict is worse than that. You give yourself a taste, one bite, one cheat bite, and you are taking the first step on that slippery slope that'll slide you down on your ass every time. If you're a severe carb addict, if you're not a severe carb addict, like a lucky few people, moderation is a word that may make sense to you. But the things that make me crazy, the people that say, anything in moderation is okay. And you have to eat a balanced diet. Those two things are the most destructive advice anybody can give somebody today. And the sad fact is, because the food companies are working so hard to fuel these addictions and make their foods even more addictive, that instead of carb addiction becoming a less and less of a problem every year, more and more non-carb addicts are getting addicted. Because once you start eating that stuff in quantities, it changes you. Same as in an alcoholic, same as in a drug addict. Drug dealers give away the first few hits of cocaine on the street corners for free because they know once people have a taste, that addiction comes on fast, and they're now customers for life. And their life, unfortunately, is not that long. I hope that answered that question about whether I ate fruit or not. I do not think it's a good idea. I don't ever listen to Saladino anymore. Guys severely disappointed me. One of the things, interestingly enough, that's worse than glucose for us is fructose. Fructose does more damage to us than any of the other sugars. So why would somebody go after 300 grams of fructose or, of fruit a day when if they really thought they needed carbs, there are carbs you can eat that would probably do less damage. I don't know what his thinking is, and he may be all right on that. He may not, it may work for him, but he's a friggin' athlete, and most of us are not like Paul Saladino. Anyway, good question. AMP has a question here. Hi, B, how you doing? Mitch, what is priming that everyone talks about? Well, priming is another name for stuffing yourself for the early on in carnivore. It's the concept that I use for all my advice. Eat until you can't eat anymore. Eat until you're satiated. Then you can't have cravings. It's the only way to knock down a carb addiction. But I've made some very specific, and I came up with it before I ever heard anybody talk about anything called priming. But I can't be the first human being on the planet that's ever thought about maybe if I never got hungry, I would never have cravings. That I would think that would be obvious to anybody, but somehow nobody thinks about it. And still, very few people are talking about it. And when they talk about it and throw the label priming on it, they just tell people to eat 8,000 calories a day of meat for the first 30 days. But they don't talk about the why it works. They don't talk about the timing of it. They don't talk about make sure you're always carrying the food with you. They don't talk about, here's some tips to recognize when a craving is just starting to rear its ugly head, and at that time immediately start eating a meal, not a snack. They don't talk about that. All of those little nuances that I've added to it are what really makes it work, rather than just stuffing your face and thinking you've eaten enough. And then a craving comes along and you never think to, well, maybe I should be able to recognize that. Maybe I need to eat more. So I have a few basic rules that kind of add on to the concept of priming. And that's what made it work for me. And I got to believe I was as hard a case as anybody on the planet. And I say, if it worked for me, if I was able to do this, pretty much anybody should be able to, with very minimal suffering and work and deprivation, as long as they follow a few simple, basic rules. And I've gone over them so many times, and they're in so many videos. So, yeah, that's what priming is. That's what priming is. Even then, you don't hear too many people. I know Bart Case talked about it. I don't hear too many people talking about it. And you know, put yourself in the place of somebody that never heard of carnivore. And here comes some clown. You're overweight, you're sick. And here comes some clown, some bald-headed old fart, comes along and says, here's what you do. Eat 3 times as much food as you're eating now. I mean, that's what you're going to hear, isn't it? If I knew nothing about any of this and I watched one of my videos that told me how to get past the first 30 days and didn't understand any of the whys or anything, and I just heard somebody saying, eat until you can't eat anymore. As soon as you get hungry again, stuff your face until you're satisfied. Don't let yourself get hungry. If I heard that, I would look at this guy and say, wow. And click off that video and go on to the next one. Hopefully not a Paul Saladino video that says, you can eat 150 to 300 grams of fruit a day. And I would go, yeah, I like that one. I like that one. Your addiction would steer you in that direction every day of the week. That's why there are believe it or not, so few carnivores. There are very few of us. But that's what priming is. That's what priming is. Oh, did somebody buy me a coffee? Maybe? Yes, somebody. Somebody bought me a coffee, and let me acknowledge who that was. It's someone again. It's Jeff Johnson, the name you know. You guys have been around here long enough to know why I say Jeff Johnson, the name you know, comes from the movie Distinguished Gentleman with Eddie Murphy. In case you wonder what that reference is, you can go look that up or watch the movie. But Jeff Johnson, the name you know. Hi, Mitch, Jeff Johnson here. This channel is very valuable and informative. Mitch gives valuable information and sparks my desire for further research. Just finished The Big Surprise by Teicholz. Man, Nina Teicholz is a name that everybody should know. She's an investigative journalist. And her and Gary Taub have uncovered and proven, I would say, virtually all of the fraud and propaganda that has led to the sad state of the medical advice that's given out today that's killing people. Anytime you have an opportunity to watch Nina Teicholz, whether on one of her own videos or a video where she's a guest in an interview, and everybody, Ken Berry's interviewed her, everybody's interviewed her, look them up on YouTube. And if you were ever convinced about the fraud that's been perpetrated on us, that not only is costing us a fortune, but is making us suffer, killing us and our loved ones, you'll be so flaming pissed off after you get done watching some of the things she's exposed that you'll basically want to become a warrior against it, like I have. And yet nobody knows this stuff. So yes, thank you so much, Jeff Johnson. I appreciate that. And I appreciate the message and the recommendation to also watch anything by Nina Teicholz. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, my friend. Thank you for that. All right, where were we? Ellen is here with us. Good morning. Happy Sunday morning, Ellen. Good to see you. She says, good morning, Old Guy Carnivore and chat friends. Happy Sunday. And we all say right back to you the same thing. The same thing. You know, I haven't looked over in Rumble to see how I'm doing here. Let me see how I'm doing in Rumble. I never even looked to see if I was live, but obviously I am because, yes, it's working. Hey. And, oh my God, I just refreshed the screen. All the chat went away. But usual, Mike Seeley, Rod Weeder was there. Thank you, guys. Thank you for coming into Rumble. Right now, there are 16 people actually watching on Rumble. Wow. Very good. Very good. Oh, my phone went off. Again. And Jasmine bought me a coffee. Thank you, Jasmine. Says, good morning. Not Jasmine. Oh, my God. Mitch, wake up. I know it's Sunday morning. Janine. Sorry about that, Janine. I took a glance. I saw the J and I saw all the N at the end, and I said, Jasmine. No, it's not Jasmine. It's Janine. At least the least I could do when somebody's so kind is at least get their name right. Janine bought me a coffee, said, good morning. Good morning to you, Janine. Thank you so much. Much appreciated. And, look at this. Look at this. I can't show it on the screen, but my buddy Dan from Tampa, whose handle is iFixShet, but we all know what he means. Give me a $5 super chat. Morning, Mitch. Got to say I had a bowl of fruit the other day, and I think diarrhea is hereditary. It runs in the genes. Hey, Dan, how the hell are you, my friend? Staying out of trouble, I hope. Not likely, but, you know, it would be nice. Be nice to see you stay out of trouble for a change. Hope your health is good. Hope you're feeling well. And appreciate you checking in. Thanks, man. Thanks for the super chat. I appreciate that. Good to see you. Yeah, you ought to check out, if you ever get a chance to check out Dan's channel. He's a wild man. Old drone buddy. Man, good drone pilot, too. Always enjoy seeing you. You know, Dan, you know who else checks in here all the time? Chris Hope checks in. Always good to hear from all the old drone guys. Jody, Drone Shots, always in the evening live streams, checks in. Just great to see you guys. Maddie's Drone World checked in the other day. Can you imagine that? Remember? That was, yeah, that's crazy. It's my old channel, still the same channel, and people, evidently, sometimes it shows up. And Lori loves your handle, Dan. She says, oh my God, that's the best one yet. Everybody's laughing. Well, it's an appropriate handle for Dan. Dan fixes, that's what he does. He's always fixing old shit. You and Rick, Charger Mopard, get along great, Dan, because he's always fixing old shit too. His is more in electronic stuff, but you, and cars, but you, you know, you're always fixing drones and scooters and, oh man, the phases I've seen you go through on YouTube. Anyway, I was saying hi to Ellen there. Always good to see you here, Ellen. And how far behind am I in the chat now? I am. Holy cow. I'm 45 minutes behind. I need to start running, looking for questions. I want to get to the questions. I thought maybe I'd get done early today, but no. No, I get verbose. And the chat stops running. I stall. Who's this? Is that PA Beater? Pa Beater? I live on Facebook. Yeah, so many people do. I'm just not into that culture. I can't take the time right now to start to follow your different conversations. So I'm just looking. Thomas Pruitt. If you have any questions for Mitch, put a QQQ. Yeah, did Thomas Pruitt he did that yesterday. Well, he's new to this thing. He'll learn. Put it in again, Thomas. If I missed it, I can't go back looking for it. I don't have the time for that. I need to see those. If you have anything you want me to comment on, any question, even if it's a comment you think I need to see, like Mitch, we can't hear you. or something important, put a QQQ in front of it if you need. Or a super chat will always attract my attention, but I don't fish for those, that's for sure. So just go with the QQQs. DS111 QQQ. Does your link offer a desktop cigar smoke simulator? No, you're just being silly. No, I don't. R.C. Budin, this is about time I was talking about the cigar smokers ditching me. She says, you do you, thank you. I have to remember that I'm looking at chat that try to remember what the hell I was talking about when some of these comments came in. It's the only way I can do this, though, and we somehow managed to get through it. It always takes more than an hour now. I mean, we're already past an hour. I've given up on that, guys. I pretty well assume we're going to go to at least 9 o'clock, and yesterday we went to, 10 o'clock, not 9 o'clock. We're going to go to 10 o'clock, and yesterday I went to 10:30. But that's okay. That's okay. I'm looking for the QQQs, and if I see a name I haven't said hi to yet this morning. Here's a Q embedded in a comment. Good afternoon. I want able to send a question through my laptop. Do I send any place you can actually, the place that you put this chat in right now, where you type this, that's where you would type your question. If you want to email me, if you want to send me a question that's not in the chat, you can send it to me by email at my Gmail address, oldguycarnivore@gmail.com, and I'll get it. But nobody else will see it. That'll be between you and me. And I try to answer those as well. I saw William McCartney. I saw on an interview with Michaela Peterson, she consumes nicotine. Don't know if she smokes or chews or vapes. I hadn't heard that before, but that's possible. And evidently, if it doesn't bother her, why not? Maybe she was a smoker. Who knows? That's interesting. I've seen a lot of her interviews. I've never heard her say that. Here's somebody I never saw before. Good morning to London Taylor Tomlinson. Good to see you, says good morning, Mitch. Always enjoy it when I see new people that I don't recognize. And for some reason, they pop out. Here's a question. Here's Anna's question. Anna, okay. To anybody who wants to answer, do you know your morning glucose level on carnivore or the average glucose level on carnivore? There is no such thing. Glucose level is a absolutely individual thing affected by so many things. I would say, if you had to say the typical carnivore morning glucose, I would say 80 to 90. Maybe it's even high as 100, I've heard people talk about, but that comes from something called the dawn effect. Our body normally makes some sugar in the morning just to get you started. Give you a little boost of energy, and you can metabolize it. Even if you're a fat burner, you can still metabolize a little bit of sugar. It still helps. And we kind of make it. So if you go for your blood tests always first thing in the morning fasted, you may have a blood sugar 10 or 20 points higher than what you think you would want it to be. But if it's anything higher than 100 or 110 at tops, I would say you've still got something that needs some work and needs some more time to fix itself. Or you've got something broken that needs to be figured out. Hope that answers that. And anybody else who wanted to answer that could answer it too if you have a different experience. My glucose level on my blood tests year after year after year, taken the first thing in the morning, has always been 85, 90. But I know it's actually lower than that. But I never take it. I don't own any things to poke my fingers. I don't own any machines to read those things. I don't think about it. I don't worry about it. I don't micromanage it. It does what it's programmed to do, and I leave it alone like pretty much everything else until something rears its ugly head as a problem. And I check once a year. I have my A1C checked, and it's always 4.9 or 5, somewhere in there, and very happy. Hey, Gary, Armin, Arzamendi is here. How you doing? He says, can you touch on the freedom from variety and how it affects positively the psyche on your journey? Thanks, Mitch. Well, there's a reason. Yeah, I can touch on that. And I'll touch on it with my theory. This is my theory. Not anybody else's theory, although other people may have thought about it. I have never heard a word said about this anywhere in all of the keto and carnivore crap that I've watched over years and years on YouTube. Not a word about variety. My take on variety is that, like every other urge that we have, desire that we have, a search for something we think we need or want, there is something driving that. And that something can generally, in fact, almost always be found in our ancient survival programming. That's the beginning of all of the mechanisms that drive these things. And the desire for variety in food is kind of obvious, isn't it? Kind of obvious. Everybody is always looking for something they haven't had before. The newest restaurant, the newest recipe, the latest thing. They think it's going to satisfy some unsatisfied desire or need that they have. And most humans are like that when it comes to food. And there's the reason for the quest for variety, Gary. I guess you could, and don't take this the wrong way, but this may be akin to the reason why men always want what they can't have when it comes to women, even if they've got a woman. This is not that they're bad men. This is a drive that has ensured survival of the species through its development. And it comes to us, and we're built that way. We're hardwired, they say, that way. And you can chastise men all you want about always looking at other women and thinking about other, but that's the way we're built. Women don't understand it because maybe they're not built that way. And they view it as a fault. It is a normal thing, as are so many of the other things that we've labeled as bad traits. We can't help it. Having those traits allowed us to survive so that we're actually alive today because our ancestors had those traits. So the urge for variety, I theorized, must come from the fact that there are certain nutrients in short supply if you're not eating enough animal products, because there are essential amino acids, vitamins, minerals, all kinds of things. And in our physiology, when our chemistry is working like it's working, it has to have that particular molecule of whatever it needs right there at that place and time in the cell, as it's creating the proteins or creating the ATP for energy. And if those things are missing, we get the feeling we need to look elsewhere for them. And we start eating things we never ever were meant to eat or wanted to eat because our body is on a scavenger hunt for different things that it's missing. And it can only get you to put them in your mouth by creating a desire for you to eat a wider diversity of things in the hopes that that thing it's missing might be in there. I hope you're following me through this. When you go on carnivore, you're getting everything you need. Plus, you're eliminating all the poisons that gum up the works of your physiology and your biochemistry. It's a 2-for-1 deal. So, the body is starting to not find itself short of necessary compounds. And it becomes less concerned. There's no need anymore for you to be on a scavenger hunt. The desires for different foods, the desires for diversity in foods will fade away naturally after a while. And you'll just be happy as hell, just eating that small range of bacon, eggs, beef, and whatever else you're eating, chicken, fish, and the desire and the urge to search for different things will go away. And you call it the psyche, Gary. Yes, that's exactly what happens. And that's why, chemically and evolutionarily, the urge for variety on carnivore will fade, generally in a couple of months. And that's the reason that longer-term carnivores find it so easy to stick to this and are not tempted anymore by that nagging search for the nutrients that are in short supply. That's it. That's it. That's it. If anybody can direct me to a video where they've heard an explanation like that, I'm all ears, but I don't think you'll find one. I'm proud of that. I'm proud of figuring out stuff like that. Whether I'm right or not, that's my theory. I have no way to prove it. Who could prove something like that? But it makes sense. It makes sense evolutionarily. It makes sense chemically. And understanding the subconscious as I do, it makes more sense. And the proof for me is that the cravings and the urge to have variety, to have things that taste different, has gone away completely. All right, take that for what it's worth. That took a little time to explain, but Gary, thank you for asking that question. Thank you. That's a very, very interesting concept. We can all recognize reality. We can all recognize things that happen to us. The difference between me and most people, for some reason, is when something happens to me, I have to know why. I'm not just going to say, hey, that was great, that happened to me. I need to know what caused that. That's just, I've always been that way. Always been that way. So, in this case, maybe I can spread a little of that strange thinking around, and somebody else will take it from there and maybe expound on the points that I just made. But thanks for that question. That was a great question. Oh, man. Well, I am still 45 minutes behind. Okay, I need to really run through this. Now I'm not even reading anymore. I'm just looking for the questions. I want to get to the questions that you guys asked. That's the main goal here. Okay, here it is. Here's the question. Thomas Pruitt. Question. Just got gifted a new pressure cooker. Any tip on cooking a prime rib in a pressure cooker or a pork shoulder? I would not cook a prime rib in a pressure cooker. Sorry. And I don't use pressure cookers that much. But I would put a pork shoulder in it, and I would cook it long and slow until it just kind of, you can make pulled pork out of it. But I would cook only the toughest of meats in a pressure cooker. When you get something like a prime rib, man, get a rotisserie. Slow cook it, smoke it, do something, because cut it up into ribeyes and sous vide it and sear it, because you've got some of the best, tenderest meat on the whole cow there, and you don't want to ruin it. So that's my advice on that, Thomas. Somebody gives you a prime rib roast. The way we had it for Thanksgiving was in a Ronco rotisserie at my son's house, which is fabulous with the burnt outside. You'll never get that kind of stuff in a pressure cooker. Never. But if somebody gives you a tough chuck roast or something like that, and you want to cook it in a hurry and just get it to the point where you can at least eat it, shred it up, I would cook it in a pressure cooker. But I'm not I have a pressure cooker. I have the Instant Pot one. I think I used it a couple times and made videos, but I actually haven't used it since. I haven't used it since. I've slow cooked some stuff in it. Works great as a slow cooker. You make soups and stews and things like that if you're so inclined on carnivore. And it says here your sister gave it to you. Yeah, well, that's nice, and you can find uses for it. So many of these new pressure cookers actually can sous vide. They have a sous vide setting. They'll hold the temperature constant enough, fill them with water, put a vacuum-sealed bag of meat in them, and they'll sous vide things for you. So, yeah, they're useful. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. When you're just one person like me, you only eat so much food. You only cook it so many different ways. My kitchen is like Gadget Warehouse, and you all know that. I don't know if I said hi to Carolyn Loves Elvis Forever yet this morning, but good morning to you, Carolyn. Good to see you. And I'm trying to run through this. And Dan has a question. Dan says, what if you grow your own fruit and you don't get it from the store? Dan, very easy. Doesn't make any difference. Whether you grow it or you get it from the store, it's not the pesticides, it's not what they spray on it that's killing you. It's the fructose and the sugar. And homegrown fruit has just as much of that. And if you can get by, if you need to eat fruit, you just eat one little bit, and you don't start eating more or binging on it, you'll probably be okay. Fruit is not that unhealthy, but fructose is the worst of the sugars. Fructose does the most damage. There's a video that came out from just a few days ago from, I think it's Ben Bickman or somebody like, very, very highly respected research scientist. And basically they have tied excessive fructose consumption to cancer. More so than it causes cancer more than the things they call carcinogens today. Karen White, how you doing? Thanks for answering my question. I really enjoy your channel. I didn't see your question, but I may have, and maybe I inadvertently answered it. Good to see you, Karen. Thank you. Thank you. And I'm not dwelling on these. I'm trying to get through it. And I love the fact that you guys participate so much in this live stream. It isn't just me talking. Looking for questions. Okay, here's Danny's super chat. Thank you, Danny. I really appreciate that. I did get down to it and get a chance to acknowledge it on the screen. Good to see you. Good to see you. Always good to see you here, my friend. Wow, you guys need to join Terry's new Facebook group. You could be doing this all day. So I'm looking for, where am I? I'm at 9:35. Hey, I'm only 20 minutes behind now. Man, I can take a little break here, have a sip of coffee, light up my cigar. Hold on. We haven't had nearly enough happy music today. 161 people on a Sunday morning. Wow. Good. Relight this thing. Ah, yes. Take one last shot at the buy me a coffee stuff and check to see. Yes. DS111 bought me a coffee. Thank you, DS111. Thank you so much. Thanks for the Mitch information, he says. Yes, I have developed a whole new word, Mitch information. That doesn't guarantee it's right or anything, but my t-shirt, I may be wrong, but I doubt it. Thank you so much. Thanks for that. Thanks for the coffee. Crazy Horse has a question. Hey, Crazy Horse. Do you worry about your blood work on a regular basis? I only look at mine yearly when I have my annual VA appointment. Well, Crazy Horse, you and I are absolutely the same. And if I didn't get it taken every year, I'd probably never get it taken. I could give a shit less about what my blood work says. Honest to God. All it does is give you things to worry about. And so many of the ranges and things that they say are bad are not bad. So you get started down a path of tests and more doctor's appointments and more blood work and then medicines to fix things that are non-problems and shit. Just leave it alone. Once a year is enough. I go in once a year just for grins. Just for grins. And let them do their basic stuff on me. Most of which is unnecessary, and the stuff that's really necessary for sick people, they never do. Things like fasting insulin tests, C-peptides, the right kind of cholesterol screening, the NMR test that tells you whether you've got big fluffy LDL particles or small damaged ones that are hurting you. They never do that shit. They don't know enough about it to do that stuff. That shows you how ignorant most of them are. I agree 1,000%. Once a year, I go in, I give my doctor a lecture, show her some studies, let her write down that she prescribed me a statin, and I refused. And unless I break something, sprain something, strain something, or hit my head again and have to have brain surgery again, it's usually from an injury, not a physiological condition that have all gone away because I'm a carnivore. So yeah, you and I agree 1,000%. Not only would I not worry about the fact that you're not getting your blood work done more frequently, I'd be proud of that. As long as you're healthy and you feel good. Now, if you start feeling strange and passing out, and then, yeah, you need to look into it, find out what it is you're missing. Because you might be missing some vitamin or electrolyte or something. But yeah, no, I'm not one for micromanaging or constant testing, and I certainly don't agree. You all know that with these people that say you need to be monitoring your ketones every day by taking blood tests. Wow. And drinking exogenous ketone. I don't even ever worry. I don't even know what my ketone level is. I know that when they need to be there, they're there. Period. Because I'm a fat burner. It's not up to me to decide how much of it needs to be there at any given instant. Good question. Good question. Did I say hi to Granny Boo too? If I didn't, hi Granny Boo too. How are you? Here's an interesting comment I just happened to drive by. Bob Eater says, yeah, lots of variety on carnivore. There is certainly a lot of variety. We got all kinds of meats and fish and chicken and pork and even cheese for some people. But that's not the kind of variety that the average person is looking for. The average person doesn't want to eat the same food once a week, let alone every day. They need something different and exciting. They equate food with excitement and pleasure. And that's their brain trying to motivate them to keep eating different shit until it finds what it needs and can do its job. That's my theory. I'm sticking to it. Hey, Polish Mike, how you doing, my friend? Good to see you. My take on food variety. If you need, find different ways to make the meat, don't add different foods. Yeah, exactly. There's enough different ways. That kind of variety is fine, so it's not exactly the same. There are carnivores that only eat ribeyes. We know a couple of them on YouTube. There are carnivores that only eat ground beef. That's because that's what they can afford, but that's all they eat, ground beef and eggs. And they're happy. That's okay. I like a little variety in preparation. But I'm getting all the nutrients from that, so I'm not seeking anything out of that circle of foods. I just, one day, like fish, once a week maybe. And I know there are nutrients in fish that I need. So if I feel like fish, maybe that's my body telling me, hey, Mitch, you know that nutrient you get from salmon? We think we're running a little low. Maybe you should desire some fish so we can get what we need. Maybe that's exactly what's happening. I think it is. I think that what we call a whim or a desire is a message. It's a message. And that's how our subconscious communicates to our conscious. Not with words, emails, texts. With little urges and desires. With emotion that drives us, with cravings that drive us to action because of the pleasure we expect on the other side. That's all part of the neurotransmitter system, dopamine, serotonin releases. It all has its roots in understandable chemistry. Question DS111 says, did you receive my coffee this morning? I just did. Yes, thank you. Thank you. If it doesn't work, I'll do it. I won't do it anymore. No, don't not do it anymore. You knew that would get me to look. No, sometimes my phone doesn't go ding with that. Their app sometimes makes a ding, and sometimes it doesn't. And sometimes I get off on things and I forget to look. But I try to, as one of the last things I do in any stream, take a glance. Make sure I thanked everybody for that. Yesterday, I missed one because it actually came in a couple minutes after the stream was over. But every one of them is noted and appreciated, and I reply to every one of them too. I reply. So the one that you just gave to me, sometime today when I get to a stopping point somewhere, I will sit down and I will type out a reply and thank everybody individually. If you never get a reply to me, send me an email and say, hey, Mitch, I sent you a coffee, you didn't reply, so I can look for it and make sure I actually did get it. It didn't get lost on the internet somewhere and never found it to me. $9.51. I'm catching up. I am catching up here. Any more questions? Anna Kurzawa. Doesn't metformin act similar to carnivore as it lowers insulin and people lose weight? I went to YouTube and some doctors recommend using it. What do you think about it? Well, yes, metformin, of all the medications that doctors prescribe, this is the sense that I've gotten about metformin, not being a doctor or a pharmacologist, the sense I've gotten about metformin is that if you're a diabetic, or even a pre-diabetic, because they prescribe to some people, metformin is probably the most benign drug that a doctor could prescribe. That probably is the least, if any, side effects that are serious. It's certainly not going to cure diabetes, but it will help treat it. Yes, it will help lower blood sugar a little bit. Yes, it will more than likely give you a little bit of weight loss. Is that enough for you? If that's enough for you, and you can't give up the sugar-containing foods, or the seed oils, or the processed foods, you'd make the decision, well, the metformin helps a little, but I enjoy the, I mean, my life revolves around all this crap I'm eating, and if you're one of those people that just makes it, just like I make the decision to smoke cigars. I personally don't see any downsides for me. Other people do, but I don't. And I've made the decision. Hell, pushing 78 years old. I've been smoking for 55 years. I'm still great. I'm not inhaling any of it. My voice is still normal. I haven't ruined my vocal cords, which is proof that I have not sucked in 50 years worth of smoke. I don't sound like my mother did after 40 years of cigarette smoking. Sounded like a man with a deep voice. I think I'm relatively as cancer-proof as a human being can be on my diet. I'm not worried about secondhand smoke or anything like that. Shit, we get in our cars and go out there and drive in pollution that's as bad or worse than secondhand cigarette smoke. You're worried about cigarette smoke, man. Put on a hazmat suit with an oxygen tank before you go anywhere, or even breathe the air anymore. So I made that decision. And if you're on metformin and you want to keep eating the foods and you're happy with the rate at which your diabetes is getting worse, and you make the decision that, well, at this rate, I'll never get to the getting my feet cut off phase. I'll never get to the where my dose of insulin is so high. Then that's a decision that you have to make. My decision, however, would be to get rid of every drug other than electrolytes and maybe some vitamins. Get rid of every drug. Heal myself to the point where my blood sugar is now normal again. Fix everything with diet only and be healthy. And see how long we all last. None of us on carnivore today really have any definitive proof that it's even going to extend our life. How do we know? Has any of us lived to be 130 yet? No. Maybe in 30 or 40 years we'll know. If old Mitch is still here in the morning doing a live stream, you can say, well, there's living proof that this carnivore works. It's the same living proof I use when I say my grandfather lived to be 102, smoked 5 cigars every day of his life. George Burns lived to be 100. There's living proof that these things aren't deadly. But there aren't a lot of cigarette smokers around that live that long because they inhale, and we don't. We hold on to it. We use it as a pointer. It's a prop. It's an image. You never saw George Burns do a comedy routine without a cigar in his hand. That's what a cigar is to me. I enjoy them. And I'm convinced they're not hurting me. And sorry for those people who miss out on what I have to say because they happen to think these are deadly. So I can't change their minds. I don't want to change their minds. But yes, doctors recommend any kind of drug they can get you on. That makes you a member of their tribe, keeps you coming back, keeps that next appointment coming. And haven't you all noticed that the last thing that happens when you leave a doctor's office is they make the next appointment for you? I don't do that with my doctors. I leave my doctor's office and they'll say, well, let's set up your next appointment. And I look at them and I say, why? If I need you, I'll call you. That's how you do it. That's how you do it, unless it's an annual physical or something like that. And I do that with my dermatologist because I had skin cancer. I know it's gone. I know it's never likely to come back. But what the hell? Once a year, I go in there, let him look me over every square inch, and if he sees something he doesn't like, and he hasn't found much lately. He used to always say, wow, oh man, I don't like the looks of that. Something you don't want to hear your doctor say. I'll let him cut it off or whatever. But that's about the only recurring doctor's appointments I have. I have my annual physical, and I go once a year and see my dermatologist because of my history, and I want to make sure keep on top of it. But all those precancers I used to get on my bald head every time I went in to see the dermatologist, they don't happen anymore. Used to come out with that nitrogen bottle, always squirt 5 or 6 of these things, precancers they call them. I don't get them anymore. Eat meat. The solution to most of the world's problems, believe it or not. It's amazing. If people just ate meat, the fallout from the improvements to people's health would be felt in every aspect of human life. Here's Gary's got another question. Question. I am not past the question dropping time. Question, Mitch, do you have a carnivore stew video? I assume ingredients, broth, and meat. No, I don't. I don't make stews. I make, the closest thing I make, well, it's a soup. It's not a stew. A stew has to be thick. And in order to make a soup thick, you have to add things like cornstarch and other stuff, which I would never use. So the best I do is make a non-stew stew. I'll take some beef soup and I'll throw different kinds of meat and stuff in it, or maybe once in a blue moon I'll make myself a fish soup and throw chunks of different kinds of fish, maybe if I happen to have any leftovers. But no, I never make stews, because stews, by their very nature, I would think, would have to have some thickener and something that is almost like gravy in them. And the only way we can thicken up things is to add a ton of rendered fat, and then I think you'd have too much fat in the thing anyway. So that's my opinion. It's my opinion for what it's worth. We're sneaking up to the end here. I think I'm almost accepted the fact that this live stream is going to go somewhere almost 2 hours. Gary's out in California, man. He got up early for this. I appreciate the questions, Gary. I like answering the questions. Hey, James Ballou is here. I haven't seen you yet this morning. Good to see you, as usual. And Boulder is here. Hi, how you doing? Everybody's talking about blood work. Blood work questions, QQQs. Are there any more? Are there any more? And I know I'd asked people not to ask questions after 9:30 so I can get through the chat, and I am up to 10:02. I am only 5 or 10 minutes behind at this point. But I want to catch. I don't think I missed anybody's question today. If I did, I'm sorry. But if I were to sit and just read, you guys chat so much, there's no way I could read and engage in the conversations that you're having. CB said something about his A1C. I didn't see how high it was, but you shouldn't have a high A1C. You should not be anywhere near the pre-diabetic range. You might have 5.2, 5.3, and there are reasons why carnivores' A1Cs go up a little bit. I won't discuss that now, but we've talked about it many times. It has to do with the fact that basically your blood cells are healthier and live longer. But that, to make you understand why, requires a deep dive into what an A1C test really is and how it measures what it measures. I think since I've been a carnivore, my A1C has gone up 1/10 of a point. Still low normal, I don't worry about it. I'm the furthest thing from a diabetic on the planet Earth. I see all the people. No more questions. No more questions. I did it. I did it. I did it. Here we go. A1C. My A1C a month ago was 5.5. But 10.1 prior to carnivore. Well, that's why your A1C is high. Holy cow, you're fine, CB. 5.5 is still not even pre-diabetic. And a perfectly wonderful A1C number, especially if it was 10.1. It will take years and years and years to get any lower than that. You're just at the beginning journey of repairing your metabolic health, which could take 5, 10, 20 years to get to the point as if you had never screwed it up in the first place. It took 30 years, 40 years to get to that 10.1. Man, you're a recovered diabetic, CB. A recovered diabetic. That is impossible, according to the learned medical community of endocrinologists and other doctors, that you cannot cure diabetes. You can only manage it. And today they try to manage it to an A1C of 7. The stupidity. We've got all these doctors. Instead of reading studies, instead of, investigating some of the things that we tell them. You walk into your doctor's office and say, hey, doc, remember me? I had a 10.1 A1C. Now it's 5.5. How can you explain that in a system that will not acknowledge that diabetes can be cured? And he'll give you some cock and bull story. They run around like this. La, 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 la. They don't want to hear it. They should be in jail in the face of what we now know. With the thousands and thousands and maybe tens of thousands of people that have reversed diabetes completely, gotten off all the drugs, saved their lives, not to mention their feet and their brains. Nothing wrong, CB. You're doing fabulous, man. Don't let anybody tell you that your A1C is too high. Okay? Please relax. Your Uncle Mitch told you that it's fabulous, considering where you came from. Enough said about that. I'm glad I noticed that. I'm glad I noticed that. Ricky Lee, I haven't seen you yet today. How you doing? And God, I got to the bottom of the chat. Now would be the time for anybody, if I missed anything, to throw a comment in there, and I'll see it. I'll see it. Yeah, Pamela Suarez says, last year mine was 5.6, and the doctor wanted me on a statin. Hey. Hide the children. Hide the children. If a bad word offends you terribly, put your fingers in your ears. I have a word that I append when every time I say doctor and I'm not in sensitive company. This word precedes the word doctor. And it always comes out, fucking doctors. Yes. Unbelievable. Want to kill them. But I'm too gentle a spirit. I'm too gentle a spirit. Jane, Jane bought me a coffee. Thank you, Jane, so much. I appreciate that. Thank you for what you do, Mitch, she says. I'm doing what I love. I love this. It's a good thing I love it, too. You guys know me. I am not crazy about the YouTube culture in general. I don't play any of the games the way they tell me you need to play. And I get punished in this arena for that, but I refuse. I do not like the YouTube culture at all. I don't like the way they run it. I don't like the nonsense. I don't like what you have to do, always trying to get more and more views. They keep dangling carrots in front of you that you can never catch unless you play the game exactly the way they want. I don't like all the videos from all these channels that keep telling you how to game the system, how to get more views, how to hack the algorithm, That's not what we should be learning. We should be learning how to be healthy. I finished the coffee. Yes, let me turn off the coffee warmer. I finished the coffee only because I had it started with a half a cup, which I drank the first half of that cup as I was setting up my equipment for the day. All of this stuff, which I will take down. I will take apart, put it away. It takes me 10 minutes to disassemble it, put it back in the house, get it ready for Monday morning. So listen, we're down at the bottom of the chat. Robbie, last minute question. Does your coffee warmer keep your coffee hot all the way through the chat? Oh, yes. Absolutely, Robbie. It's amazing. It is as hot as the first sip, but not too hot. And it has 4 temperature settings on it. 131 degrees, 145 degrees, 160-something degrees, and 180. I find when I set it to 145 degrees, it will keep it warm all day at a temperature where it's hot when you drink it, but not too hot that you would want to blow on it. But it's perfect. It's perfect. It works great. It makes that 1 cup of coffee so much more enjoyable because you know how coffee is. You take the first few sips of it and it's hot. And then when it starts to cool off, you start drinking it faster. I think unconsciously, I better drink it while it's still warm or the next sip's going to be like iced coffee. And that's what happened to me. So I find myself just gulping down the last half a cup of coffee because it was getting cold. This little thing makes the coffee, the whole cup, 100 times more enjoyable. And I never thought of it. It took Francine Bourgeois to give me a super chat one night on one of my live streams. I think she gave me $50 Canadian. So after Google got done taking their 30%, I ended up with about $35. No. After I got done converting the Canadian dollars to American dollars, I ended up with $35, and then Google took their 30%. I ended up with about $25 out of that 50 Canadian dollar super chat. And I took that $25 and I went to Amazon and I bought this coffee warmer, which was about $25, and it was one of their biggest selling ones, and it is perfect. I like the fact that it's got a readout, different temperatures. It's even got a timer on it that you can push. And I can't even imagine how I lived without it my whole life and drank the coffee I drank and never had that. You guys are still chatting up a storm. Holy cow, even Ellen is still here. 150 people are still here. I got to go in and make a video, guys. I got to go. I got to make that video. I'm going to try to. You probably won't be out. There's not enough time for me to film it and edit it for today. So you'll see it tomorrow. I promise I'll get it done today. I promise. I promise. I mean, look at that. Gary, thank you for the compliment. He says, very cool. Mitch information again today. Mitch's channel is addicting. Thanks, Uncle Mitch. Gary, you're so very welcome. You're so very welcome. And you ask good questions. Thank you. I appreciate that. I do. It would be very dull if I just sat here said nothing. Lizzie says, "You can do it, Mitch." Yeah, CB, you're a cynic like me. All right, guys, let me do this. Let me start a little happy music, which lasts 1 minute and 45 seconds. So you can leave this with a smile on your face. Dance a little bit. Say goodbye to all your friends in the chat. I will relight my cigar. I can't finish my coffee. I already did that. But I can relight this cigar. And you guys are still chatting away. I don't see a lot of people saying yes. There, Rick says, quack at you tomorrow. Nikki, happy Sunday, everyone. Steve Rogers, applause. Lat says, have a good day, everybody. Straight Bro, have a great day. I didn't see you before. How you doing, Crazy Horse? Thanks for all the camaraderie and good information today. You're very welcome. Ellen says goodbye. CB, Carolyn, loves Elvis forever, says goodbye. Wanda Gerling, see you tomorrow. Gary, saying goodbye to people. Bye everyone, says Pamela Suarez and Ricky Lee. I feel like I'm calling a horse race here. And there we go. So with that, my friends, with that, you know the drill. Have a great Sunday, the rest of the weekend. I, of course, will see you here tomorrow at 8:30 in the morning on Monday morning, on New Year's Eve. No, it isn't. Tuesday's New Year's Eve day. Tomorrow is just a plain old day. Okay, tomorrow is the 30th of December. And everybody knows we have 31 in this month. So see you tomorrow, plain old Monday morning. Until then, my friends, take the rest of the day off. Eat meat.